Yeah, let's talk about the bigger picture. Let's talk about how we be ballin', playing with the Wizards. Let's talk about the Nats and how they always got good pitchers. Let's talk about the Cats who rescue, turn them boys to winners. Injuries and updates, oh yeah. To the opponent, we stand toe to toe, yeah. To the top, this podcast gonna go, yeah. I think it's something you should know, yeah.
All right, so I guess the words are greetings and salutations. Welcome to Ref the District. I am the Stoner. Joining me is our new co-host because we fired Nathan. That is Trevor Stores. What's up, Trevor? How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah. So behind the scenes, we're gonna give you all the behind the scenes of what's been going on. We've been having some terrible technical issues, audio first, then video, and just a whole bunch of that. And hopefully it's at least fixed for now. We're going to get it all fixed here coming up pretty soon. But anyway, you can catch us live on YouTube, usually at 7 p.m. on Thursdays. But here it is now. It's about 8:20. We're finally going live, but it's going to be worth it because we've got a lot to go with here, a lot to go on. And Nathan, he was not fired. We're just kidding. He is, because of the technical difficulties we're having, he is just back home in Annapolis watching us and feeling left out. And we miss him. And he's drinking heavily, of course.
Yes.
So, Trevor, this is your first time live as a full-time member of the show. You're no longer a guest. You are a co-host. What have you thought of how this operation works?
Excluding today, it's a very, very, very good situation to be a part of. Not only just for Washington football, but for all DC sports. I'm a basketball guy, not really a baseball guy, but I watch it. So this is great, though. So I'm just happy to be a part of this. Ref the District.
Okay. Ref the District, baby. Get on board or don't. I don't care. Right now. It's that time of night. It's with all the problems we've had. I'm just ready. Let's just talk sports. We're going to talk about preseason game number 2 coming up tomorrow night against Cincinnati. Then we're going to play our interview with Washington Post beat reporter for the Washington football team, Sam Fortier, that we interviewed him earlier today. You and I did. Nathan again wasn't there, so maybe he did get fired. I don't know. And then for our post game, we are going to do a little bit of a dollar segment, and we're just going to give any final thoughts as we go into game number 2 tomorrow. All right, so let's get into the what do we call it? See, Nathan has all of the proper terms.
I think it's the warm-up, right?
It's not the pregame, the warm-up.
Yeah.
See, you know better than I do. It's the warm-up. I always want to call it pregame because we have the game, and then we have post-game. So why don't we have pregame?
I think the pregame today was the technical difficulties. That was for sure.
That's what it was. Okay. All right, so let's get into it a little bit. We've got game number 2 tomorrow.
Yes.
Friday night, first time back at FedEx Field. This is the first time fans are going to be allowed for an actual game in over a year, and that's kind of a big deal. And you're going, right? You're going to be there. I'm going to be there. Nathan says he's going to be there, but his car might break down. We'll see.
Don't put that bad juju on him like that.
Hey, I didn't give any juju to the operation.
You're right.
And it went bad. So
yeah, you're right.
There's no such thing as that. But anyway, so we're all going to be there. What is your kind of expectation of going into this game? Even though it's preseason, what is kind of your expectation of the whole experience that we're going to have when we get there?
I guess we're going to see how game day experience really happens in this new regime at FedEx Field. I mean, we already got a new field. The paint looks great. There's new food items coming and all that stuff. So excluding the stuff on the field, I'm just ready to see what the atmosphere is going to be like being away for a year and coming back to something brand new pretty much. So it's pretty exciting.
What about the potential weather? Right? There's a possibility that it just might thunderstorm, rain on us. Is that going to matter? Is that going to dampen your spirit?
No, not really. When it comes to the team though, yeah, because that's a little bit of ammo for injuries to occur. But other than that, Nah, and also for D-Hop to probably miss another kick, so it's okay.
That's probably going to happen, right? So before we get to all the on the field stuff, let's talk a little bit about the off field stuff. They've talked about parking seems to be the number one issue that fans have, and then now we're hearing that the secondary parking ticket or parking prices are $60 or $80.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the secondary though. If you have season tickets, you could have bought the parking with that. But if you didn't, then you got to buy them secondary if you want to park close by. So you got the parking. Like you said, they've got new food items. They've got a new field. They've just got a whole new game day experience that we're looking forward to. What is the biggest thing that you're kind of hoping to see when it comes to the game day experience? Not the field stuff yet.
I guess more fan interaction, more giveaways, more contests, more meet and greets, just stuff like that. More things to bring the fan base that's kind of divided because of the team name, but we won't go there. Bring it together again
Right.
and become a family that we are.
So we're not going to talk about the team name.
No, we're not going to talk about the team name. Yeah, nah,
okay.
For sure.
although somebody had a pretty cool video that they put out.
I saw that. Yeah.
Where they actually got the raw audio.
Yeah.
Who was that?
I think it was some podcast group, like district referees or I don't know, but it was dope. It was dope.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It went viral
like
in this
that.
area. Within like the Washington football team and the fan base, it went viral
for sure
for the name and all the people associated with that. But mostly because Jason Wright responded to it.
Of course.
And was good-natured about it, right?
Yes, for sure.
And so then you got the name. We're not going to talk about that. So let's get to the on-the-field stuff.
Okay.
What is the big thing that you're looking forward to seeing with the on-field stuff?
I want to see a little bit more time with the first-team offense on the field. See if we can maybe display an explosive play here and there, get some more continuity going on, maybe give some of the wide receivers who are battling for a spot a chance to run with the ones a little bit as well. And then on the defensive side, I don't think we need to see our defensive front starters anymore this season.
Yeah. They don't even need to play at all.
No, let's give our depth guys some more opportunities to show that they can provide actual depth for this team because we are lacking depth for sure this year. So I said depth a lot.
What happens? So what happens if, for example, the first team offense comes in and they go not necessarily 3 and out. Let's say they do get 1 first down, but they only have 5 plays, 32 yards. Then the next time they go 3 and out. And then the third time maybe they gain like 40 something yards, but it stalls. Do you want to keep them coming out until they get a good drive going?
No, like you.
So where's your line?
Three to four series. I mean, I'm watching this Patriots Eagles game as we got on here, and Cam was pretty much played the whole first quarter. Starters played pretty much the whole first quarter.
Did he really?
Yeah, so maybe if we can push that, maybe half a quarter, depends. But like you said, if they're calling for rain, I don't want the starters out there pushing it.
Well, we know Curtis Samuel is not going to play.
Right,
because he hasn't even had really a full practice yet.
No.
Who are some of the other guys that maybe you don't want to see out there offensively?
Terry McLaurin, excuse me.
Just don't even bother.
Nah, don't even bother. We saw what he can do the past 2 years, training camp, first game. We know what he's got. Adam Humphries, we know what he is too with his career and what he showed first game. As far as that for the offensive side, Antonio Gibson, maybe a series. And then let him sit down because we got to figure out who's going to round out the running back room. We need J.D. McKissick to get more looks.
Get more involved.
Yeah, because
he didn't do much game 1.
No, so I'm ready to see how he's going to have a role in this offense because last year, of course, he was 80 receptions. Most of them were checkdowns because we had Alex Smith, but
right. Is he going to get 80 again?
No, I don't think so.
Is he going to sniff 80?
I think he'll maybe half, if that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So,
I'm expecting like Antonio Gibson is going to pick up a lot of those catches. I don't think he's going to be a Gibson first and second, and then McKissick on third.
Mm-hmm.
I think Gibson's going to be first, second, third down.
Yeah.
He's going to be that every down back because he can line up in the slot. He can line up wide. He can do things in the backfield on third down. He can do screens. He can do everything.
He can.
So why even bother taking him out on third down? So McKissick will just be that guy who comes in
specific plays,
3 or 4 series a game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, specific plays, specific roles, gadget plays here and
or
there.
maybe you have them both in at the same time.
I would like that.
We saw that a little bit last year where they had McKissick going this way and Gibson going that way. And the linebackers were they were done. They didn't know what to do.
It was nice.
So that's good. So you don't really want to see them that much. What about on the offensive line?
Oof, offensive line, and that's a pretty good battle. It's going to be some position flex. We have a lot of that on our squad, so I think we have established our right tackle, and then our right guard, but maybe across the board on the left side is a little iffy. Not iffy, but we're trying to figure out the perfect fit for the starting offensive line. So that's going to be exciting to watch.
So you want to see all of them?
Yeah, I want to see.
Or do you want Sheriff to not? You want to see them all?
Yeah, well, Sheriff, you can rest him. We know what he has. So maybe even Charles Leno, you can even maybe let him go a rep or two, a series or two, and let him sit down. He's an established veteran.
Yeah.
Give some of these other.
Is he? Is he from France?
I don't know, honestly.
Charles Leno.
Charles Leno. I
thought it was Charles Leno.
I don't know.
I just thought maybe he was from France or something, and you gave him that foofy name.
Maybe it was that Fortier. Maybe that Fortier interview has me going on to Charles Leno. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a good precursor for what's coming up here in the game. We've got good old Sam Fortier from the Washington Post, so that's gonna be exciting. All right, so defensively. Yeah. But actually, before we go defense, Samus Reyes, he's not going to play, right? Because he's in concussion protocol.
Which, by the way, when did that happen?
So there's another guy.
When did that happen?
I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I don't think that's been made clear if that happened in practice. Did he practice Sunday? Sunday was the first practice back.
Yeah.
I think he practiced Sunday, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then starting Monday, Tuesday, he was off to the side. Yeah. So he's not going to play. So that's another guy. But do you want Logan out there? Or do you want him to sit?
Give me Logan for a series if we have to.
And that's it?
Yeah, because we don't have Hemingway. We don't have Sammy Reyes. We just signed Caleb Wilson back. So our tight ends for this game are going to be Logan Thomas, Ricky Seals-Jones, and Caleb Wilson.
Yeah, the new guy.
Because we cut that Guillermo's guy. Whatever his name was.
Yeah, right. We got a lot of foreigners on this team. I don't know if foreigners is the right word.
International. We have a lot of
internationals. Good. I don't want to use the wrong term here. I'm not trying to offend anybody. So I was thinking about the tight ends.
Oh, and John Bates too. Sorry.
Is Hemingway? Bates. Is Hemingway still on the roster?
Yes, he is. Only because Stoner, he came down with a concussion, and I learned through Twitter, you can't release the man with a concussion. So that is literally the only reason why he is on the squad. It has nothing to do with his play, his off the field behavior. It doesn't matter. It only matters because he's concussed. So saved by the bell, literally.
Okay, right. He's just saved by getting
bell rung. Yes.
So, are you predicting then the minute he comes off the injured list that he's going to be cut?
Yeah, man, he's done.
There's no chance. He's not. I'm telling you, they like Hemingway. I'm telling you, they do. So he's a part of this team. I don't know if he is tight end 3 or 4 or if he's right on that line.
Practice squad.
He's not leaving. Well, I don't even know if they want him that bad, but maybe. We'll have to see. We have to see what happens with the injuries with Reyes and all of that. So we'll see going on. All right, so defensive.
Yeah.
What do you want to see defensively on the line?
Yep.
You don't want
No.
You don't want any of them playing the
No,
starters.
Chase Young can prepare for this all he wants to as like a game, which I'm perfectly fine with.
Mm-hmm.
But, don't let him go. Jonathan Allen, don't let him go. Deron Payne almost got his leg snapped good by trying to recover a fumble last week. So sit him down.
It wasn't a fumble, though.
No, it wasn't. Bring Ioannidis in. He's been out because of COVID and stuff. And bring him in.
Oh, that's true. Is he going to play?
Yeah, let him play. I think he deserves it because he didn't get to play first.
Yeah.
We haven't seen him at all this year. He's been in and out of practice. Put him there with Tim Settle. Get William Bradley King, Smith Williams.
Shaka Toney.
Yeah, get all those guys some good reps.
Toohill.
Yeah.
Although
Casey Toohill.
I think Toohill might be injured.
Yeah, we'll probably let him go.
I think he hasn't practiced all week because of injury, so I don't think he's playing. But okay, so get all those guys. Yeah. The guys you never heard of.
Yeah.
Do you want Jamin Davis?
Yes, I do. I need to see see if he's shown growth or not. Just a little bit.
So tell me what you're looking for with Jamin.
He can play a little bit more than 1 or 2 series. He's a rookie. He needs all the time he's allowed to have to get him adapted to the NFL's game speed and how it works out, whatever game time situations. So yeah, he can play a lot along with some other rookies. Say Juice to give him some more opportunities on the outside. William Jackson should definitely play because we haven't really seen him much. Why? And also because it's the Cincinnati Bengals, baby. He's been throwing subtle shade.
Gotta go against his old squad.
Yeah, so give some younger guys, some rookies, some undraftees, some more burn. For sure.
What about our guy, Torrey McTyer? How much do you want to see him?
I want to see him all day long. He's been lighting up training camp. Whether it's a tip interception, whether he's just reading the pass, great. Blanketing receivers, flying under the radar, which I love, which is good for our depth too. Mm-hmm. He may not be a starter. We already have that locked down, but he can provide some good depth. So I want to see if he's living up to his camp's expectations or not. And my boy.
And a little teaser.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and a little teaser with Torrey McTyer. We will be interviewing his father,
yes, sir.
Former NFL defensive back Tim McTyer,
yes, sir.
Is going to join us for our Day After Reckoning on Saturday. So that's pretty cool. And just while we're on the subject of booking guests, our guy Trevor, who is replacing Nathan, if you haven't heard, our guy Trevor has been lining up all kinds of interviews for us. I mean, you got us our interview today with Sam Fortier, and you got us Tim McTyer, and I'm not going to tell you who the others are
that was close.
We don't want to ruin that, right? And so we got a lot of great interviews coming up. All right, so what else in the defensive backfield are you looking for?
Trapke season. I want to see more Trapke at quarterback. He's been lighting up camp too as well. Unexpectedly, I didn't think he would have this much shine at the cornerback position as he's having right now in camp. He's great on special teams still. I think he has a really good shot of making this team as a depth guy. I really do. His camp is speaking it. His speed speaks it. I believe it's going to be between McTyer and Trapke, honestly, for that last CB spot.
Last DB.
Yeah.
Well, your audio's starting to go out.
Of course.
So we are going to now go. That's a perfect segue. It's perfect timing. We've talked about what we want to see. Why don't you unplug your mic and plug it back in, and I'll move us into the game segment, which is our interview today that Trevor and I had with Sam Fortier from the Washington Post. He's a beat reporter. We're going to show that interview right. Happy now to be joined by the great Sam Fortier, Washington football team beat reporter for the Washington Post. You can find him on Twitter at Sam4TR. Thank you, Sam, for joining us. We appreciate it, and welcome to Ref the District.
Chris, Trevor, thank you guys so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Before we get into all this Washington football team talk, because we're going to talk quite a bit about that in the short time that we have you, you were the beat reporter in 2019 for the Nationals, and that was a World Series winning team that you followed the whole year. So I got kind of a two-part question on that. One is, what was it like to follow a world champion for an entire season? And then number two, are you like us, just blown away at what this team looks like now compared to what it looked like just 2 years ago?
You're talking about the Nats.
Yeah, the Nats.
Yeah. I mean, both teams that I covered have gone through pretty crazy transformations. But to your point, I mean, surreal, I guess, is like the word that comes to mind when I think about like what it was like covering that Nats team in 2019, because I was out in LA covering the Chargers for The Athletic. I got brought in. My first day was opening day, and I actually went up to Philly and I rode I rode a bus with some Phillies fans down in Nats Park because that was Bryce's first game back. And so like my introduction to the beat was like a brawl in right center on the concourse between Phillies fans and Nats fans. I was like, whoa, what's going on here?
What did I get myself into?
Right. And I remember I was in Milwaukee when they got swept by the Brewers. It was right before, it was like the series before they got swept by the Mets, I think, to go 19-31. And I remember being in that clubhouse because it was Carter Kieboom's first call up, made a couple errors, and it was like deathly quiet in there after the sweep. And I remember Jake Knoll was up because they were injured and Kurt Suzuki got hurt. And I was like, am I about to cover this team for 5 more months and have them be out of it the entire time? And so like the roller coaster ride that we went on afterward, I mean, my beat partner, Jesse Doherty, and I, like, that was one of the most surreal, special experiences of my life because, I mean, growing up, like, I was a big baseball guy, and I know that baseball seasons don't normally end that way. So for them, I mean, after that, it was just kind of a ride. I remember, being in Detroit when Fernando Rodney and Gerardo Parra come in with their glasses and the boombox for the first time. Like, Max with, getting the black eye. I mean, that really was a special experience. And to your second question, what does it look like now? It's like, I was out at Nats Park just because I had some friends in town and I hadn't been to a game in a while, before the deadline when everybody was still there. And it was just surreal to see not only the changes that have happened, but also, it was a Patrick Corbin start, and it was, man, that slider 2 years ago, I remember that thing being dominant. What happened? So yeah, it is pretty astounding to kind of think of how much has turned over in 2 years.
Trev, on you, buddy.
All right. Well, let's get to why we're here, Sam. Enough of that America's greatest game. We're going to talk some football. So training camp, preseason first game's already happened. So now we're in the second game coming up tomorrow. My first question is kind of a two-part. How do you feel about, I guess, before the concussion, Sammis Reyes's chances on being a part of the 53, and then Jarrett Patterson, his real chances of being the 53? Yeah,
both great questions. I know both fan favorites. I think I feel a little bit better about Sammis Reyes, though I would say, like, both of them, I think, have really impressed coaches. And I want to start by saying that, like, the amount of money they gave Sammis Reyes, the fact that they took him out of the International Player Pathway Program, like, that alone tells you that Marty Herney, who was down there in Florida to see his workout at UF, that tells you, they really like this kid. And obviously, he just played his first football game. He's got a long way to go. But when you look at some of the blocks that he made, the physicality that he has, that's not something you expect to see out of a basketball player. So right. So he's got a concussion right now. Didn't practice. So to me, they could either, if this injury is a serious thing, maybe they IR him and he stays on IR for the year, or maybe, he makes the 53 and then they put him on practice squad. I don't think that you'll see him get cut on August 31st because then that exposes him to everybody else. So right now, I imagine, he has a pretty solid chance to be with this team in some capacity after cut day. Jarrett Patterson, I think the same thing. I think he has a good chance, but I think he has less, or his circumstances are a little tougher just because, they didn't give him that big signing bonus. He was an undrafted free agent. I know they're trying him out at kick return just to see, hey, what else can you do? And I think, to me, obviously he had a really nice first game, but if you're going to be that third or fourth running back on the roster, you really got to contribute to special teams in some way. I think kick return might be a tough way, or something that he's not as experienced in. But when you're talking about a back that can run the ball up the middle, that can catch the ball out of the backfield and do what he does, I think you'd like to have that guy on your roster in some capacity.
I think that's a good point about Reyes that really a lot of us hadn't thought about, is that when they saw him and the amount of the signing bonus, they had to probably outbid some teams in order to get him. So they obviously like him, and it wasn't just one of these things where, hey, let's see what you got. This was they saw something in him, right?
Yeah, especially for someone. My bad, Sam. I mean to cut you off, but especially for someone who's never played the game of football.
Yeah,
they obviously had to see something.
Yeah, to me, it kind of goes back to when Pete Hainer earlier the tight ends coach was talking about Logan Thomas earlier this year and him saying, oh, I think Logan take another step. He can be a top 7, top 5 tight end in this league. When you look at the measurables, the arm length, the size, the height, the weight, the quickness, Sammis Reyes checks all those boxes. So is he a 2 to 3 year project? Probably, if he's going to be a legitimate contributing tight end to this team. But at the same time, if you're thinking about a Super Bowl window for this team, if they can find that quarterback, that's probably around the same timeline. So I think that they feel comfortable investing in a guy and not saying, hey, we need you to be a 30 catch guy, a big part of our sub package right now.
Right. Okay. Nice. So Trapke season has arrived, Sam. He made the move from safety to cornerback. I got him, and Torrey McTyer seemed to have been getting a lot of noise too in training camp at the cornerback spot. Is that a battle that is a real battle, or is it just something that's just for entertainment?
Yeah, I think Torrey McTyer has certainly stood out. I mean, that dude, I think coming into camp, I thought Dale Roberts might be that guy in the slot. He's a little more veteran guy. He's got that flecxibility. They signed him in that second wave of free agency. Mm-hmm. But he has not made as much noise as Torrey McTyer. And I think Torrey McTyer, I'm not saying he's going to be their, one of their top 3 corners, because I think that's pretty solidified. But could he be that 4th, 5th guy? Could he be a pretty solid reserve if someone gets hurt? Yes. I think Trapke, while he has made some notable plays, he's had some really nice pass breakups, which people don't give him enough credit for. I think he might be still a little too green at that cornerback position, with some leverages, with some things that we've seen in the field to merit that roster spot. I think he's definitely on the bubble, maybe on the outside right now.
So when you talk about practice squad guys or guys who are maybe destined for the practice squad, when they get cut in that the big wave right before August 31st, are those guys now just complete free agents and anybody can sign them, and not necessarily to the active roster, right? They can sign them to their own practice squad if everybody agrees to it, right? So you have the chance of losing some of these guys that you really want for your practice squad for future development.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I think, my beat partner, Nikki Jabala, and I talk a lot about what this team is going to look like after cutdown day, or, who's going to be here, who's going to do that. And I think it's a misnomer maybe after those initial cuts come out to say, okay, who made the 53? I don't think that that's a good reflection of the roster, because they're looking around, okay, who did so-and-so cut? Who did so-and-so cut? We like this guy. We played him in the preseason 2 years ago. Now he's available. Do we like him a little bit more than maybe our last corner or our last running back? So it wasn't the case last year, because of the COVID protocols, but normally teams turn over a lot between, the bottom half of your roster will turn over a little bit because of who other teams cut. So yeah, it's a total free, it's kind of like undrafted free agents after the draft. It's chaos, and everyone's on the phone, and people are trying to figure out who's available, who's going here. And so that's what it'll be like after, 4 p.m. on August 31st. And this team will obviously try to get better in that facet as well.
So we got game number 2 coming up against the Cincinnati Bengals, home game, brand new field, brand new this, brand new that. What can we expect in tomorrow's second preseason game, since the normal preseason schedule is cut down a game to 3? What can we look for as far as who's playing, and are there any position battles that are key that can become more clearer after tomorrow night's game?
Yeah, so I think with the reduction in preseason scheduling, I think you might see this be treated like that third preseason game used to be. Get the starters, who knows, a couple series, maybe a little bit more than New England, let them get up to speed and then rest them in the third. I know Ron Rivera is the type of guy who does not like to rest his guys. So you're going to see, I think, the starters out there for at least a couple series tomorrow night. And so I think you're going to see that. I think you're going to see a couple position battles, particularly that last receiver spot and returner. I think, it used to be, in my opinion, the two-man battle between DeAndre Carter and Steven Sims, but you've seen 7th-round pick Dax Milne really come on strong here in the last couple of weeks. It's been impressive. He's got some, certainly some reps with the ones. I think you're going to be looking for Jamin Davis to maybe make a little bit bigger of an impact than you saw against New England. And I think the safety battle, how do they figure out those top 3 safeties in Bobby McCain, Landon Collins, and Cam Curl? How do they get them on the field, in what capacity? And one more, I think the biggest transition in terms of lineups is you're going to see Eric Flowers at left guard instead of Wes Schweitzer with the first team. So those are kind of the battles I'm looking for. And then if I can keep rambling and go one more subplot for you.
Of course, bro. Go ahead. Yeah.
I think William Jackson III is going to take his couple series against his old team. And I think this is going to be personal for him.
I was thinking that too. He's been taking subtle shots all week.
He has been taking subtle shots. He said, he made a joke about Washington's defensive front. Actually, he said, oh, it's great. They're actually helping me for a change when he talked about that. And I went back and I looked, and if you look at the targets, his metrics when he was targeted in Cincinnati and they only rushed 3 or 4, he had a much tougher time than when they were blitzing. So you can kind of see, okay, maybe, and I know they played man about 80% of the time. He said he's playing a lot more zone, playing a lot more different coverages here. So I think that William Jackson III is going to do his best to show out tomorrow night.
Do you think
he doesn't even care who's quarterback?
Yeah, he doesn't care who it is. Do you think there's been a little bit of noise, at least on our side, the fan side of training camp, about William Jackson, and he doesn't seem to maybe be popping like you would expect the big free agent acquisition to be popping in camp? Is that just noise from us fans, and that we're just not seeing him every day, either shutting guys down or playing really well in camp?
No, that's something that I've talked about, even out there, when I see Terry beat him or someone else, I say, hey, this isn't maybe kind of the level of play that we expected, but I think there's 2 things there. I think that one, sometimes Terry McLaurin is just really good. And you saw that last year against Cincinnati. I mean, William Jackson certainly gotten him a couple times as well. And there was one play I remember at the end of a red zone period where, for lack of a better term, like Logan Thomas just mossed him. And I was like, okay, like if you put him on a tight end, like that could happen. Yeah. So I think it's not as bad, but I think the reason sometimes that people, including myself, will be like, hey, what's going on, is because that shift to zone has been, I think a little bit tougher than maybe I expected. Because he said, this is 100% different than what he was doing in Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about transitioning techniques that, like, he was telling us the other day about this technique in zone coverage called T-step, which is basically like when you come out of you're backpedaling, you're coming out of a break and trying to be patient. Like, that's something he's doing in the grocery store. That's something he's doing at home. Like, his girlfriend was giving him a hard time about it. Like, when you're doing something that different that you've been doing for 6 years, even at Houston before that, like, it's going to take a little bit of time. And so to me, the question is, for someone who last year, I'm a big nerd, so I like EPA, expected points added, some of the advanced stats. But if you look at the advanced stats and you look at the tape, like, he was elite man corner last year. I know Terry got him for one, but he was really impressive. So to me, the question is almost, how does Jack Del Rio push those buttons? When does he say, okay, we need you to just take away this side of the field? Or when does he say, okay, we need to mix it up and play zone because that's what's going to help us here? So to me, I think William Jackson III some of it might be Terry being good. Some of it might be maybe he wasn't at the point where people thought he was. And some of it is, they're just running a whole bunch of different stuff right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. Trevor, you got another one?
Or you tapped out? But I'm good. I mean, we can keep going as long as I'm good. All right, so I've caught a lot of flack on Twitter here lately about my Jamin Davis take. He didn't show me anything first preseason game. I know it's first preseason, but here's my opinion on that. He's a top 20 pick, and we're giving him a brand new role to play his first year in the NFL, and it's causing him to not trust his instincts and misread things and look kind of lost and kind of frantic on the field. Do you think it's something that he can quickly adjust to, or should we just stick to what he knows and put him back to what he was doing in college?
Yeah, to me, this is sort of let me put it this way. I wasn't as concerned when you see some of those things that you saw against New England, because I was like, okay, this is probably what they expected. Week 1 of the preseason, the first NFL action this guy's seen, just in his development. Like, I guess the question here for your take is how much do you trust Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio to have evaluated correctly and then be able to develop well and fix some of these mistakes they see on tape in a linebacker? And I think like skepticism is totally warranted, right? Because if you don't see him produce right away, then it's like, okay, well, why isn't he there yet? But at the same time, it's okay, like if you're going to put this guy at Mike, and he did play, a fair amount of Mike at Kentucky, or some at least. How much do you I'll figure out how to phrase this right. Like, how much do you trust them to figure this guy out, to get him where he needs to be? And I think that like the reason that I am less dire about it or less urgent is because when you talk to people behind the scenes, it sounds like he is going about his business in the way that he needs to. And so, okay, the play isn't there yet, but maybe it takes him half a year. Maybe it takes him, most of the season to figure it out. And obviously, like, you had that luxury with Chase Young where even though he started a little slow, he was still impacting the game, even when he wasn't getting to the quarterback. Yeah. But what kind of leeway can you give this guy? So I don't know if I really directly answered your question.
No, you're good.
I talked around it enough where like I feel like you got to.
Right, you did good. I guess my beef is he's a top 20 pick, so I guess I'm expecting a little more because he's a top 20 pick,
right? Rather
than someone we can develop that we go get later on in the draft. I guess that's my biggest beef. So
right, and
you did great.
I think them putting him at Mike is an investment in the long term. Like, okay, Jamin, like, if you're not making all your calls super crisp, if you're not identifying, if you're not hitting holes in the way that we would expect you to, like we think that'll come. Because when we asked Ron Rivera, I remember we were at a charity event with him out in Northern Virginia, who is that Luke Kuechly type? Who's that versatile linebacker that you think can diagnose? And because I thought from what he had talked about that he might have been thinking it was Cole Holcomb, but he was like, Jamin Davis, that's the guy. He's going to be, I'm not saying he's Luke Kuechly because that man is,
right.
He's elite. Yeah. But I think that they think the potential is there and they're willing to give him this runway to figure it out.
Gotcha. All right. Last question,
That's all I
Sam.
have. That's all I have.
Last question. The offensive line, which they've got a lot of versatility there. They've got guys who can play left side, they can play right side, they can play guard, they can play tackle, all of that. The only thing that concerns me, and again, this is probably just because I'm a fan and I don't know the insider of it, is you've got a lockdown of Sheriff at right guard and Rouillet at center, but everybody else is kind of, some guys are playing with the ones and some with the twos and some are playing guard and tackle. And on one hand, that's versatility, but on the other hand, the way I look at it is nobody's like taking that position and saying, this is my job. I am the left tackle and you're going to have to take it from me. And those guys, nobody has done that. And I don't know if that's a good thing, or we should just be happy that there's a few guys who can play that position.
Yeah, to me, I do think they have a left tackle locked down in Charles Leno. I think he is that guy. Is he that guy beyond this year? He's on a 1-year deal. I don't know. I don't think they know. But to me, I think they have tackles locked down at left with Charles Leno and right with Sam Cosmi. And I know that Sam Cosmi is a guy who, the part of the reason they made that Morgan Moses move and releasing him was because they went through OTAs and minicamp and they saw what Cosmi could do, and they said, okay, he might be a little bit ahead of even where we thought he was. So I think those two positions are locked down. To me, the big question is left guard. I think that's the unresolved one between Wes Schweitzer and Eric Flowers. I think that Eric Flowers, certainly when you get the start in week 2, when you play with the ones, when you do the solid job that I think he did against New England, especially in run blocking, he was impressive. I think that's the position where you want to see who's going to come out and dominate their reps that they get, because they've shifted around Wes Schweitzer, Cornelius Lucas, David Sharp. I mean, all of those guys, Sadiq Charles, like all of those guys have played different spots, and I think that's in anticipation of not necessarily that these guys aren't winning their jobs, particularly in Sadiq Charles' case. I think they're throwing him everywhere, because if you remember last year, I think it was during that Lions game that Cornelius Lucas got hurt and Morgan Moses had to go to left tackle because David Sharp couldn't play left tackle. Yeah. And when you're starting Morgan Moses at left tackle against Cincinnati, like that's not the best combination for your line. Not because it reflects on Morgan Moses to play left tackle, but like asking your starting right tackle who's played that position for like 5 years to shift, like that's not your best combination. Like you need continuity on that. Like I think coaches, I think metrics, I think everyone would tell you continuity is one of the most important things on O-line. So I think they're just cycling all these guys through just to get a better sense of, okay, Sadiq, if you need to play right guard, or Cornelius, like if you need to go to right tackle, like how's this going to feel? So I think that left guard spot is a battle, but everything else I think is just experimentation and trying to make sure what happened last year doesn't happen again.
All right, Sam, we know you got to run. We appreciate you taking the time to join us here on Ref the District. Again, that's Sam Fortier, Washington football team beat reporter at the Washington Post. You can find him on Twitter at Sam4TR. Again, Sam, we really appreciate you joining us here on Ref the District.
Yes.
Of course. Chris, Trevor, thanks so much for having me. I'm sure we'll hit it soon.
For sure.
All right, that was Sam Fortier from the Washington Post. He is the beat reporter for the Washington Post, and so welcome back. We're now in the post game after we think we've got all of our technical difficulties out of the way. So here we are back in the post game. Trevor, how is your audio working?
I had to switch mics, so. Yeah.
So, but we can still hear you. I mean, we can hear you nice and clear, so that's good.
All right.
So there's a couple things before we get to our dollar segment. There's a couple of things that he said that I found very interesting. The first one is when we talked about Sammis Reyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, let's not forget that when Sammis Reyes had his workout, and there were a lot of scouts there to just kind of check him out, Washington paid a hefty signing bonus, relatively speaking, a hefty signing bonus for some guy who's never played before, because they really saw something in him. This was not just, let's just take a flyer on some guy who says he wants to play and see what happens. They've seen it from the beginning that he really is a player with a lot of potential. It might take a little while. He's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, he does. I'm glad that they didn't just base their choice off of his size, because he's a monster of a human being. But
yeah, he is.
For someone who's never played the sport and what he's showing in preseason and camp, seems like he's kind of picking up things faster than what I thought he would be picking up. I'm not saying he's ready like you, but he's definitely picking up the verbal butt chewing he's getting in camp every day. And you see him almost after every practice on the jug machines in the pouring rain for like 30 minutes, working on his blocking at the tight end position. That shows that he wants to get better. He wants to be a football player. It might not be with the Washington football team, but he wants to make this a career for him. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'll be honest. When I first heard about his story, I didn't think he had a shot of even making it through the first cut. The first 5-person cut.
Right.
But he's impressed me. He's impressed me with what he's done, and like you said, the dedication that he's shown to the game. That this is not a Tim Tebow kind of hobby kind of thing. Like
we should bring
Tebow
him in
did.
on waivers. We should bring him in for a tryout. Why not?
Tebow, yeah.
I mean, we got
Well,
two concussed, so.
Right. And a couple other things that he talked about that I wanted your opinion on. What did you think about what he said about Jamin Davis and about his development so far in camp?
I after my opinion, that hasn't been taken very, very lightly. I see where he's coming from. He's somebody who's in the film room every day, in the playbook every day, fast learner. They're probably just seeing where he is in his progression with that role, and then maybe he reverts back to the outside linebacker position. But yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with what Sam said. He brought me a different light to that situation. So.
Yeah, and he's done that. When we did this interview, I thought was really interesting because we listen to these guys when they go on some podcasts or we see their Twitter and they have 280 characters that they can fit their information that they're trying to get out or their stories and all that. But he really expanded. He really brought a different interpretation of certain guys' roles. And I thought with Jamin Davis, that was interesting. What he talked about with William Jackson and how he's changing what he's done basically his whole career and how that's different now.
Yeah.
And same with like Cole Holcomb, who he thought was going to be the inside guy, who's now an outside guy. Just a lot of good information that Sam gave us that I really hadn't thought about.
Yeah, me neither. And he's there every day, so he's a good person to listen to. So.
Yeah. And then the last one was, he said Charles Leno, as you like to call him, Charles Leno has locked down that left tackle spot. That's his spot, even though he's not necessarily always running with the ones. That's going to be his spot unless something drastic happens. I think his prediction was Leno, Flowers, Rouye Sheriff, of course, and Cosme. And he's been really impressed with Cosme. And he said that's why they got rid of Morgan Moses. When they saw Cosme in those rookie camps and all that, they said, okay, this guy is actually a little bit better than we thought.
Sure.
We can go ahead and let Morgan Moses and his $7 million or whatever go.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
All right, so let's get to the dollar. And the dollar is going to be based on tomorrow's game and kind of what we expect to happen. We talked about what we hope we wanted to see, but now let's get to what we expect, and we expect it so much we're willing to wager $1 on it. And I'll go first. So Trevor, are you willing to bet me $1? I think Terry McLaurin catches a touchdown this game.
Ooh. Nah,
you
dog.
want some of that?
Nah, you can have that all day.
All right. So what's great about this setup that we have now is that our former third host, Nathan, we can actually see him off to the side here. We can't hear him. He's obviously not on the cast because of the technical difficulties, but we can see him, and I think he wants a piece of that bet. So I got to write this down in our dollar board. So I'm going to write it down that Stoner says McLaurin catches TD.
Give me that. I'll take that too. I'll be a part of it.
You said he will?
No, I say he's not going to. He's not going to.
Oh, he's not. Yeah. Trev.
Nah.
Okay, so Trev says no. Nathan says no. And I got to check the chat, also, the live chat, and see if there's anybody there who wants a piece of this action as well. Looks like Jazzy says no, our executive producer. So if he catches, that's $3. I'm gonna have to give y'all my PayPal account.
PayPal.
Is that like old school? Is that what all the oldsters use? What's the new one?
Cash App, Venmo, Zelle.
So what's wrong with PayPal? It
There's
does
nothing.
the same thing.
Yeah, you're right. Nothing. It's just
Okay.
It wasn't one of the first ones I would have thought of. But
Okay. Well, that's all I got. So we're gonna have to do PayPal. All right. So Jazzy says no as well. All right. You got any for me?
Yeah, I do.
All right. Let me see if I want a piece of this.
Kyle Allen outplays Tyler Heineke in the means of throwing
Okay, in the means of.
in the means of throwing 1 touchdown and 0 picks.
1 plus touchdown, so it can be at least 1.
Yeah,
And no
Kyle Allen
picks.
throws 1 touchdown. Heineke throws 0.
Interesting. I don't even know that Kyle Allen's going to get a whole lot of run.
Oh yeah, he needs to.
So, I mean, he needs to, but he's injured. I don't know if they want to just throw him out there for 2 quarters, right?
Huh? All right.
Yeah.
Maybe.
All right. Trevor says Allen 1 plus TD 0 INT and what else? 0 INT and then who is it? What's the other guy's name? I already forgot his name. Did he get cut? Heineke.
Yeah. Josh Taylor,
Heineke.
quarterback 2, will throw a touchdown tomorrow.
All right, I'm taking that for sure. That's
Okay.
not happening. Does Nathan want a piece of that? He says, check the chat, which, by the way, you should know is like 30, 40 seconds behind. So we got to wait. So let's just go radio silence and let's see how that works for 30 seconds while we wait for
I'm down.
his live chat. Oh, there it is. If Heineke scores, does that let you win? Yeah, so what is if Heineke gets 1 touchdown,
Yeah.
I win.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm putting it down.
$1.
Might as well do it. I'm guessing Nathan probably wants a piece of that.
Yeah, he does. He just gave me the signal.
All right. Let's get the final score.
Ooh.
What do you got for a final score?
I'm going to go with 23-6.
To 6?
Yeah.
Who wins?
Washington football team. Cincinnati doesn't have the firepower. Joe Burrow's not playing. So they got to depend on Ryan Finley to score some points. And I don't even know half their roster anyway. So.
Right. So basically, though, so basically, you think our second and third teamers are better than their second and third teamers?
Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm gonna do what I usually do, and I'm going to pick the opposite.
Of course.
And I'm gonna go 23-6 for Cincy.
Ooh.
And the 6 points is gonna be the touchdown to McLaurin, and D-Hop, of course, misses the extra point.
Ooh.
So there you go. All right, Nathan's got one. He wants to get one in here. Nathan says D-Hop doesn't even make 1 field goal. I don't know if either one of us really want that bet. I think we probably both agree.
For some reason, I think he makes 1 tomorrow because that's just who he is. And then everybody would be like, I told you he was our kicker. And it's like, okay.
That's going to happen, by the way.
I know.
I hate to break it to you.
It is.
D-Hop is the kicker. What was the other one? They're not bringing in Montez is your 4th quarterback. They're just not. You know, after the last game, everyone was like, cut Hemingway, cut Montez, cut D-Hop, or bring in competition. They don't react the way fans do. They know what they have. They see him in practice every day. D-Hop's not great. He's not terrible.
He's good in practice.
He's decidedly mediocre.
5 for 5.
Yeah, he was right. That's right.
Nobody trying to block
All right,
the kick.
so D-Hop, do you want the 0 field goals? Do you want to bet him against saying D-Hop's going to get at least 1 field goal?
Yeah, I feel he'll make 1. He'll make 1. Yeah. Are you saying field goal or kick, Nathan? What are you saying? Extra point, field goal?
I think he's just saying.
All right.
I think he said, yeah.
We'll do that. I'll take that. He will make 1.
I'm not taking that because that'll mess up my 23-6 score over here.
I know.
Right. So then I can't win everything because I usually do. I usually win all the bets. So
right.
I think we'll go. What was the score last week?
You were 5-1. I was 2-2, and Nate was 4-2.
4-2.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but what was
Please log in through the Google Home app.
Did you hear that by any chance?
Alexa. That's our 4th voice, by the way, you guys. We have Alexa joining us tonight too, as well. So
Hey, Alexa has better audio than Nathan.
Yeah.
All right. Jazzy's got 21-6. WFT. What does Nathan have for a score? He hasn't given us. Oh, yeah, he does. 34-21 Cincy.
34-21. So it's gonna be no defense.
He thinks
at
it's
all.
going to be a shootout.
Yeah. All right.
All right. That's good. All right, so we got our dollar segments. The big thing is that we're all going to be there at the game. We're going to be there tailgating before the game, and we're going to check out all the new experiences. That's going to be really exciting. We're going to see you. That's going to be pretty awesome. Make sure you all bring a mask because you're going to need a mask for anything that's inside, which includes the restrooms, by the way.
Yeah.
So you got to put a mask on before you go in the restroom. So make sure you bring that. So that's going to be a lot of fun. That's just going to just about wrap this up for us here. Sorry that Nathan wasn't here. It was good fun to kind of tease him. He was not fired. Trevor has not replaced him. We are a 3-man show now. We just had technical difficulties, and we'll get those fixed before Saturday's show. Hopefully, both fingers crossed.
Yes, sir.
And so that was Ref the District for this week, episode 30. Looking forward to preseason game number 2. For Nathan, who's not here. For Trevor, who was here. Thanks for being here, Trevor, on your first show.
Yes, sir.
And looking forward to all the shows in the future. And so that's it. I don't know how to close it because Nathan usually does it. So I'm just going to close it by saying we are done. And don't forget to be a fan.
We love Washington, and we some die-hard fans. Yeah, we are. And you know we keep it on 10. Let's talk about the offense. 1, 2, 3, let's go. And they gifted. We are.